This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
My name is Monty Moore with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and I'm Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
Every week we'll be posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value.
Yes, and you can follow along at thetalkmusiccity.com.
Got a question for us? Ask away at questions@talkmusiccity.com.
Welcome back, Monty.
Welcome back, Carey Ann and Jason Hoover. So good to see you, brother.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Good to be back.
Thank you. Both of you. I just love you guys so much. So grateful for the privilege. And hey, did you hear the latest? Zillow, which we all have our opinions of. Just like the devil. No, I'm just kidding.
He went there.
He did
goes
go
there right at the beginning.
He did.
They are becoming a brokerage, and they're going to be hiring agents, and we're going to get into that in a few minutes. But let's talk about our absolutely awesome sponsor, Carey.
Yes, Music City Removal. They are the #1 junk removal service in Nashville. From residential, commercial, and construction, they're experts in ridding you of junk. Their costs include labor and dumping fees without any hidden or added expenses. Whether you need a full clean out or just one item removed, they have you covered.
The Music City Removal team knows the importance of respect and trust while in someone else's home. They understand the inconvenience of junk left behind by previous homeowners and tenants and are determined to provide an affordable and customer-focused junk removal service that puts you first. For a free on-site estimate, just go to musiccity.com. That's musiccityremoval.com. I'm sorry. Go to musiccityremoval.com.
Yes, Music
And
City
why?
Removal, because clutter ain't cute.
Thank you.
Nor is the Zillow thing you got going on
my
here.
Goodness sakes. So, Jason, what do you think about this, man? I mean, the thing is frustrating. Interrupt you for a second. The
Don't
thing
talk yet, Jason.
Frustrating.
Just one moment.
Is they always said they're not going to do what they're doing.
Right. But how many times have we heard of that?
I know.
They're not going to do something.
Yeah, they're not going to do it, and then they do.
But haven't they been planning for years and utilizing all of us to fund all of that, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't a shock.
No.
We know it's coming, and we've known it's coming many years. So it's one of those things that, hey, they're a business, and they are answering to Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, you can't blame them, but we can only blame ourselves for allowing it to happen.
For funding and not stopping
Correct.
the access to that information. Here we have funded our own demise, but we're not going to be demise. I mean, there's no demise.
No,
okay?
I mean,
that's the whole point. You're right.
Yeah, we still have opportunity.
Are you scared?
No, I'm not
Scared.
scared at all. Scared at all.
You're scared there, Bonnie?
I'm not. But I am concerned for are those agents that only been in the business a short time. I am legitimately concerned about that, and that's what part of fire about Open Door and the other big companies out there that have billions of dollars to throw at the market that that we don't have. And so to me, it's a race for these. The answer is it's a race to develop a database of people who know, like, and trust you. But I'm sorry, you were going to say something, Jason.
Well, so this goes back to when I was in the music industry. Mm-hmm. And so I started as soon as Napster started hitting hard.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember that? Napster?
I do.
Well, even back then, Napster was going to be the demise of music industry.
Right.
And you know what? It did. It hurt. Mm-hmm. I mean, people I was working for were being laid off. Mm-hmm. And there was businesses that merged. I mean, it was a transition period.
Sure.
So, but is the music business gone? No, it just changed.
It changed.
It's changed, and you adapt.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one of the things, you know what? We're still going to be selling houses. There's still going to be business out there. Mm-hmm. It's just how that looks is going to be different. Mm-hmm. And we've got to adapt and stop fussing about it, stop griping about it, and just adapt to it.
Sure.
And let's do business.
Yeah,
but you worked for a company, right? The great thing about all of us is we work for ourselves, right? So we can turn it on and turn it off if we want to.
Right. And if it kind of goes back to what I say is that if you're going to make in this business, you got to have the hustle.
You got to have the hustle.
You've got to have the hustle. Yeah. Well, guess what? If you don't have the hustle, you're out of the business already. You don't even know it.
Right.
Sure. Right. And you got to have grit to be able to keep going. But, people work with people. And you don't need a lot of people to be very successful in this business. And this is what's amazing about our industry. You can be amazing at helping 3 families a month if you want to, or 25 or 50 or 100, however many you want, you can. And so this is still going to be an industry, I think, that's going to be, booming for many of us, even with this crazy turn.
Well, and two, if being in the real estate business, you have opportunities of different streams of income. And so it's not just that stream of income. Start investing, looking for investment properties.
Right.
Going down that path. You don't need money up front to invest.
Right.
There's so many different options you can do.
Put a tiny home on your house.
You can put a tiny home on your house. Yeah,
on your property.
I even had one ask me the other day, "Hey, I've got my own tiny home coming through Franklin. Can I park it?" And I'm like, You're thinking of different ways.
Sure.
It's like that book, Acre of Diamonds.
Yeah.
Look at what you have and figure out how you can capitalize on it.
Right.
But I know that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the Zillow factor. But I just want people to understand is that, this is not the end of the world, people.
Right.
It's, if you believe them in saying that they weren't going to do this, well, that's on you.
And your balloon got popped.
Right.
But Jim made a good point earlier. He's talked about this is the time for all of us to, redefine our value proposition, right? And I think that's huge, right? What are you going to do to really start to recreate or bring a new feel and look to your own little business, as you are the CEO of your business within a larger organization. If we're not thinking about 6 months from now, we're in trouble.
Right.
I'm planning right now for first quarter. That's what you have to do when you're running a business, right?
Yep.
There is going to be a shift. There's some people in Inman as well and some large leaders from different organizations that say, there's going to be some tough times coming, right?
Yeah.
We can look at that as, is it an 08 again? We don't know. But 08 was one of my best years. When you're going left, when the world's going left, you can maybe look about going right. So you can kind of see the good in each situation. But you have to plan. If you're just waiting for all of the business to come to you, that's when it's going to be scary.
Go find do something else.
Right.
I think one thing, guys, that COVID has taught all of us here is that we are fortunate enough to be in an industry that, regardless of what's going on in the world, all the distractions, because honestly, in the past, it seemed like if you disrupt the population from business as usual, it affected the real estate market. And maybe we're just fortunate because we live in Middle Tennessee that there's such an influx of people regardless of what's happening. But people are still getting married. They're still having babies. They're still getting divorces. They're still outgrowing their homes. They're still needing to downsize. They're still going into assisted living. All these things continue to happen no matter what's going on out there. What you have to do is how you're going to decide how are you going to cut your portion of that pie out. When we think about, I think in the last 12 months, there's been something like 32,000 homes bought and sold here in Middle Tennessee. So it's something like that. I know that back in 2008, you mentioned that I was telling, we had a small team at that time, and I was telling everybody, look, guys, even in this kind of environment, there were still over 20,000 homes bought and sold here in Middle Tennessee.
There's a lot of business.
20,000
in our local area.
Now, how many do you need of that 20,000?
Right.
Decide that, and let's say that's 20 sales this year, whatever the number is. And then let's just divide that number into how you're going to get that business. Some are going to be from open houses. What number is going to come from internet marketing? What's going to come from family and friends? What's going to come? Whatever you're going to do to market yourself. You just pick out your numbers and pursue it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's happening around you.
Yeah, just the foundations of business, and
right.
It's one of those things that get that right first, and then be creative.
Right.
Don't try to change the or what was it? The wheel is already round. Sorry, that was a joke there.
That was
so be creative after you get the foundations in place.
Right.
And like I was saying earlier, if you got this whole pie here, you don't need the whole pie.
No.
You know, Zillow comes in, they'll take a bigger slice. Okay, but you can live very well on just a sliver of that pie.
Right.
And that's why, you know.
Well, look at me. I mean, you've got the Quickens with that company's got more
Rocket
money.
Mortgage.
Yeah, what we're dealing with, you've been dealing with for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guess what?
And
You're still here, right?
I'm very, very successful with what we do because people want to work with people.
Exactly.
You know, locals just want to work with locals. And there's going to be many of you out there that possibly will go work for Zillow. You know, maybe that's the situation that possibly could be. And that's your choice. But the folks that are really in it to win it and want to grow that business for yourself and really see something and do amazing things, you can do that. You know, but it's the basics. And it's so funny. So many people go to hear this magic formula, right? They pay these coaches
everybody
for this
wants
magic
pill.
Yeah, they do. And at the end, I'm like, it's really just the basics.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of bring it back to the basics, the foundation, right? And now we've got that. You know, what's the product? What are you selling? Who are you?
Right.
You know, do you even know who you are? Let's start there. You know, and embrace who you are: the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, the whole get up. You know, so you're right, but you know, I say bring it on.
Well, that's and
You don't have a choice.
And I think that's what Jason's saying as well. Bring it on. You know, I got to give this guy a shout out. You know, here in the office, you know, in the last few weeks or last couple months rather, he has taken on speaking of foundations. I mean, he is faithfully doing a live class, a 2-hour class every Wednesday here on just the basics. Okay. Now, if you're somebody out there in another company, you know, God bless you for your loyalty to that company. If we have an open door here, we're more than happy to allow other people to come in for some awesome training. We really are. I know you share that conviction as well,
Absolutely.
Jason.
Come on.
And we're starting a training every Thursday called Rev Up. That is how many pages?
Yeah, it's about 600. I mean, just shy of 600.
Almost 600 pages.
Very intensive.
Yeah, very intensive on covering you talk about the foundations, Carey Ann. I mean, you're going to be part of that too, I know. And when it comes to you're part of the equation there and that. But I mean, that's what it's all about. It's all about building those foundations, building those relationships. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. Honestly, after 37 years, it's still about loving people, honoring people, working from a place of contribution, not of survival, and not letting this kind of information that I have written down here about all this stuff about Zillow and their employees.
Let's not talk about
and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Right, no.
Now, when you talk about Open Door, you know I don't love them at all, but that is another topic, which I'll probably get yelled at for even saying something like that. But at the end of the day, these big things, if you decide to give outstanding service to your clients, if you decide to build a moat, think about it this way. Here's your client, and you're going to build a moat of conviction that they know you have their back.
Yeah.
That they know you're top of mind real estate professional. That there's no question that when they have that need or they hear somebody who does, that you are the go-to person. Mm-hmm. If you can develop that moat around each one of those people who already know, like, and trust you and continue to build that database, you're bulletproof.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But also know that you are the product. I think a lot of people forget that, you know, it's hard for some people to talk about themselves and to embrace that you are the product.
Yep.
So you, as Jason, the real estate agent, you know, are the product. So how do you brand Jason, the real estate agent, you know, and Monte and Carey Ann as the lender type of thing. And so, you know, with our coaching, talking about the foundation is figuring out exactly who that is. So then you can build off of that. And like you said, you know, you can be great at real estate. I can be great at mortgage, but if nobody knows we're great at real estate and mortgage, we're just going to still be great at real estate and mortgage. And the person with the most money, which is now possibly the individual coming in, is going to turn more heads. For the only reason is because they are creating marketing that is turning and creating enough curiosity for that, you know, head to turn. So you want to take that to that smaller scale for ourselves, right? Whatever they're doing in the bigger scale, you do it in a smaller scale, and you can be very, very profitable and busy, and you can make a difference in your community.
And that is part of foundations, and that's one of the things we'll be talking about is personal branding, because I'm big on branding.
Yeah.
I'm huge on it. That I even have the hex code of our colors down to. I mean, I'm very particular, even on the fonts that we use.
Sure.
It's because everything it's psychological, and so. But yeah, we can have a whole show on branding. But yeah, so that's that's part of the foundation in business and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I think taking the moment to believe in you, like in embracing that you are the product. It's okay to talk about you, you know.
Right, yeah.
And more agents and lenders start to do that. I think it makes a difference in your small business. And I get to see it from a mortgage standpoint, where we teach on this, and you get to see what they've been able to do in a short period of time and their growth opportunity. It's quite amazing. So, you know, yes, they've got more money, and yes, they're going to come in and try to make a stance, but there is so much business here, you know. And,
well, I'm building a moat around my people. That's all I know. And just like here in the office, I want to build a moat around our office as far as our agents being bulletproof from other companies soliciting, because our agents get solicited by all the time. And I want to do the same thing with our clients as well. This builds such a level of confidence, such a level of competency in their minds, and this is the place to be. And each one of us need to do that as the real estate professional with that circle.
Well, and here's the thing. I think a lot of people are afraid because they're thinking as soon as Zillow comes, everybody's going to want to use Zillow. That is not the case.
No.
That is not the case.
I don't even want to use their website because I can't ever leave it. It drives me up. You know, I get on there to look for a client something, and I'm like, can't get off of here. They've got me locked in.
There is one little nugget, I think, that if we look at it right, it could be a positive, because remember now they're going to be live streaming MLS just like a realtor, okay? So in the past, and I can't begin to tell you how many hours of my life I will never get back from responding to a client saying, well, Zillow said that it's worth this, because their data was never accurate. It's never been accurate. It's always been, you know, all over the board. And yet I've learned before I ever go to a listing appointment, let's pull up Zillow to see what they're thinking their home is worth. Well, now the good news is, and I think if we choose to have this as good news, I think it legitimately is, and that is now with that live feed, because they're a broker, they get a live feed from all the MLSs in the country. Now they're going to actually have accurate information.
Oh, there you go.
Rather than secondhand information. So they could actually be doing us a favor in that respect, at least if we capitalize on that part of it and still stay strong, you know.
Sure.
Are you really that worried about it, Monte?
I'm not worried about it for myself. No.
Right.
I'm really not.
Just for the new
It's
people.
it's for the agents who haven't been in the business. You know, over half of our agents here in Middle Tennessee have been in the business only a few years.
But I think if we promote confidence, right, and we get everybody to put their shoulders back and get ready, you know, I mean, that we're in it. If you want to be in it.
And I totally agree with you. Absolutely 1,000%. And that's exactly why Jason starts his foundation series with mindset.
Yes.
Look, guys, there's a reason why there's an 85, 87% fallout within 2 years, because it's not easy.
Are you interested or are you committed?
Yeah, I love your saying
that's
there.
the question.
Are you interested or are you committed? Are you the pig or are you the chicken? You know the difference there, right? One made a contribution, one sacrificed it all. So
yeah, I mean,
Which
that's
one?
that's what we need to figure out, because if you are truly committed, you can do amazing things.
Yes.
And you can grow an amazing business within real estate.
And that's why we have been bringing on some of the newer agents that have done so. I remember Marblin, you know, she's been licensed
she's
for
amazing.
3 months.
Fierce.
You know,
I love
and
it.
she's
a fierce gal.
3 months into the business, and it's got 8 closings, I think, so far. We're going to be bringing on a gentleman by the name of Sam Ghali. Super nice guy. Just I love his story. He's been licensed since, I think, February of this year, something like that,
yeah.
And he's already got 24 sales under his belt.
Amazing.
I mean, that's incredible. And then, of course, we all know Carolus Hanna, who has sold in his first 2 years in the business over 70 homes. I mean, there are some great success stories. Now, these people made a decision. They decided to be fierce, okay? They decided not to be wusses when it comes time to pressure back. And I really appreciate Marblin's sharing that, how she went home and cried because she got her license, then COVID hit, you know? But she shook herself off. And she felt the energy and the synergy from being in this environment where we're cheering each other, and now look, she's succeeded in a huge way.
I think a lot of us that have been in the business, sometimes we make it look really easy.
Oh yeah.
You know, doing loans, I can do them so quickly. It looks easy. So I can go do it, right? Or real estate looks so easy.
Yeah.
You know, there are long hours, there's sweat, there's tears. There's a lot that goes into being successful in this industry. But again, you have to set that foundation and start.
Right.
Some people want to jump into the deep end. I've got another gentleman I work with, and you know, he wanted to skip over A to L type of thing and just start to get to the end. And I'm fearful to remind him that you're going to struggle because you didn't set this beginning part up, because people get so excited. They just want to start to do, but they don't want to plan. They don't want to take a moment to slow down enough so they can speed up. Yeah, that is seriously, it's that. And so if we can stress that enough for the folks that are newer out there, this is the time to really commit. This is the time to know that, if you're really ready to make, maybe 2020 has been your best year, but 2021, can even be a better year by planning, planning now for sure.
It's going to be our best year. That's a decision. It starts with a decision.
Yes.
Regardless of what's happening out there, it's going to be our best year. I know without a question.
Yeah.
And not just because we have this amazing new facility and all this kind of stuff, but it's going to be our best year. Jim, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think look what other industries did back when their paradigm was shifting. We talked earlier about the travel industry. And there were a lot of people, the same kind of, principles apply there. And they're selling them. But the big online .coms came in and started taking all the airline, hotel, and rental car business. But they kind of went away. But I'm noticing travel agents make a pretty big comeback right now. Because
are you going to go do it yourself if you got a serious trip going on, or are you going to call somebody who knows what they're doing? I'm going to call somebody who knows what they're doing.
Right. But Walmart has a reputation and has a market share and a type of customer that likes to go there for a reason. Same thing will happen with Zillow. It's the people who want a boutique experience, like we talked about, my client, Mercedes-Benz of MusicCity.com. They are actually, their whole thing is that we are not a car dealership. We are a luxury retailer. That's how they put it forward. Yeah. That's how they wear that on their sleeve.
And that's a mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a mindset that comes from the top down. Remember a week prior, we talked about where that culture comes from.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and even in the car business, you've got people buying cars online and having delivered to their house, just like it was, groceries or something.
Right.
So it's disrupting.
I would never do that. I could never do that.
There are people that do.
Yeah, and it's getting. I remember. It was even 10 years ago. People were doing it on eBay. Yeah. And but so that again, it's disrupting, but it's not making car businesses go out of business.
But they're being forced to adapt because
change. Yeah. Make changes.
In that ethos, they're doing at-home delivery.
Yeah. And like CarMax,
your Mercedes-Benz your way.
Yeah. CarMax. I saw the commercial. It said if you're more traditional type, you can still come in.
That's exactly why it's that the morph evolutionary process that I've been trying to convey to many agents is that. Look, you got to get out of your head that you got to get a home run every time at bat.
Yeah.
Jason's our resident baseball player here. He'd like to hit a home run every time he gets at bat, but just getting on first base sometimes is a win. Right?
That's what I tell the kids. If you're swinging for the fence every time, you're going to strike out more times.
That's right.
So you get up there and go for the get your on base percentage up.
In the same token, if you're insisting on a certain amount because you're worth that certain amount, that's cool. God bless you. But what if instead you got a single or a double when it came time to the commission? And what if the value of your sign increased 1,000-fold in somebody's front yard than in your garage, and you had other calls from that? You have to separate whatever you're going to get from the relationship of that listing as far as direct, and look at the indirect, the bigger value of it.
We talk about the Jeffries of the Toys R Us, right? He was out of business. I remember the picture of him with his suitcase.
Yeah, that was sad. That was so sad.
But that we go back to business. It's the same concept. So it doesn't matter if, you're Toys R Us or you're in real estate. Bigger players are going to come. Bigger fish are gonna start swimming in our ocean per se, and they can take it over, or we can diversify. We can be different. We can go with the changes. Like we moved it to a full comfort of your own home. Everything can be done from your cell phone. Right. I mean, if we did not start to do that very quickly, we would be not moving with the times. So I got to be always thinking 2 steps ahead, on how you can be different and how you can create enough curiosity to make a difference. And you may, as just an individual agent out there, think that you can't make a difference or create enough curiosity. Yes, you can.
Oh, absolutely.
You can. You are the CEO of your own business. You can set it up whatever way you want. My daughter's like, why are you taking pictures of Dunkin' Donuts? I'm like, because they're great ideas. I snag more ideas at different places all over. And I'm like, how do I flip that into my own business?
Yeah.
Or that saying, how can you flip it in to make it make, sense for you and your business? So you can take an idea and brand it all day long.
Yeah.
Go daddy.
Yes,
Trademark. You can make it happen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're a single agent or you have a team, so leveraging, we talked about that. Eventually you as a single agent will, with all of your foundation and systems in place, will need to leverage your time and start to build that
And
team
it's
out.
an important piece of it.
Yeah. So Art, why rebrand a year from now? Why try to recreate the wheel 2 years from now? Why don't you start to plan for that big thinking mindset today,
Right.
and already set that up? Right now I'm coaching a lot of loan officers. They're like, I don't have a team. I'm like, yes, you do. I'm part of your team.
Right.
I'm a support system to you. So
Absolutely.
create your team name. What's it going to be? And let's start to think bigger, because I don't think if they embrace the bigger thought process, I don't think they'll ever get there. I was carrying a company when it was just carrying.
But I mean, in the beginning, did you let everybody know what it is that you do?
What
Is
I
there,
do.
like, beyond a doubt? That's one of the things when I got into the car business. And it's funny, we talked about, culture and the leaders
Sure.
of those culture. One of the guys who actually kind of killed the culture at the dealership, he actually told me one of the most poignant things. He says, let everybody know what it is that you do. Always be handing out business cards. Right.
Oh, sure.
And, for anybody who's in the beginning of anything, this is what I do. Align yourself with that category. That's one of the biggest things you can do.
I think as a real estate broker, I think one of the smart things to do as well is just back off from that. That's true. And they need to know about that, but that you're also the answer person, your go-to person for other needs as well. That are all house related. It could be hardwood, it could be painter, it could be a roofer, it could
One-stop
be
shop.
electrician, it could be all these things. If you get in your database the mindset that you're the go-to person, guess what happens when they think about real estate? You're already the go-to person. They've already got those synapses connected in their brain.
Right.
Oh, I need to talk to Jason, because he's giving me all this other information on all these other parts of a home.
I will say, as a layman, as a consumer looking on the outside of your business, the real estate business, I got a phone call a couple of weeks ago from somebody cold calling. Hey, did you know the houses in your area are selling for this? And I'm going, dude, you know how many realtors I know? You got to really try hard with that, man. You got to warm up this cold call somehow, And that's the other thing is, I guess, when you guys engage in that kind of training,
Yeah.
finding that value proposition for just even the cold call.
Yeah.
Value loaded cold call.
But they get pointers because they called you.
Yeah.
Because, there's some people out there that don't even make the call.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
Buy 'em a coffee.
I'd respect him for that. Yeah.
I think I turn it back around and then, I kind of train them on my.
I usually tell them, look, I like the first part of it, but here's what I would do differently, and I would do that.
I used to do that with people reading off scripts.
Yeah.
Let's try that line one more time.
But it doesn't matter what business you're in. There was a delivery dudes guy. I think you got me hooked up with delivery dudes, and he came and dropped off, and I was like, that seems a little light, And he drove. We live out there a little bit, so I know where the restaurant was. And he's like, I'm going to make it right. Literally. And he didn't have to do that.
Wow,
he didn't
that's
have
awesome.
to do that.
Wow.
And
Shout out for delivery dudes.
And he went all the way out, and he came back, and I was curious because he could have just left me and never came back. Meaning he could have just said that, right? And did this kid totally come back? And I came prepared. I made sure I got my very large tip because I was going to make a point to him to say, you doing the right thing.
Yep.
And that's his little business. He can, by you doing the right thing every single time, will make you be the most successful person, whatever you're going to do. And you take this and know that this tip is for you.
But Carey Ann, you paid it forward for somebody else, because the only way that those kind of great people can continue to be in a market, whatever it is to be encouraged along the way somewhere. Mm-hmm. Because he did the right thing, you rewarded for that right thing, and that's how the universe works. That's how life works. That's how the market works.
But that's his branding, right? I don't know how I can ever get him back. I would love to get him back, and that kind of thing. But we need to do that in our own industries, right? And you create that brand, and it takes off, and it may take 6 months, a year, 3 years, 18 years, type of thing.
Years.
Well, and to that point, sometimes you just have to eat that money. And, because in kind of the same instance in the real estate, we had an issue that the client went with a certain lender, and terrible experience, ended up at the end of closing or close to closing, like a day or two, they had to extend it. Well, he wasn't going to pay the $500 something, whatever it was. I don't remember the details.
Sure.
So, it was either, she was like, well, I'm just going to find another one. Well, it's going to extend the closing time. So it comes down to, it's like, you know what? We'll eat it. Let's just move forward. Do the right thing. And you know what? She now, just that little thing, she knew we didn't have to. And we made up for somebody else's mistake. But now, I mean, she's a client for life for sure.
Sure.
It also builds a stronger conviction to try to get to the lender who's going to get it there on time.
Yeah.
I just want to say that because that's part of my presentation to lenders. I mean, I get the calls, like Jason gets the calls from agents who weren't strong on the front end to make sure they went to a mortgage company that's going to get the job done rather than just hang on for dear life. And I love that about you, Carey Ann. I got to put that plug in that you get it done on time.
Thank you. Yeah.
And if it had been her, I'd still be about $500 richer.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But you know what's up? But things happen.
Yeah.
But I would own that
Right.
because one of my core beliefs is always doing what's right for the consumer. I would never put that on you, and actually a builder situation happened. And sadly, one of the agents within the builder organization never sent me a change order. That was their job, right? Closing's happening. Client signed the CD and they get to the table or we get a change order an hour prior to closing, and it's $5,000, and that's a huge shift for that client. And she was not happy, and it worked out because of the price point of the home that I was able to just cover that, because at the end of the day, this lady already had everything moved, and I was going to work that out with the builder later. But that's what you do.
Yeah.
It's not about the one deal. It's about the bigger play. It's about you being the tortoise in the industry. It's about going the long, drive there. So this is really great. Always talking about, everything we can do to make a difference out there in the industry, and Zillow, Schmillow, whatever. Come on, bring it on. We're going to we're going to be successful with you or as you join us. So thank you again. We'll see you next time. The Talk of Music City Real Estate.